you're really sure you didn't do this, again, avoid one big bucket of storage. You know, if you were to design a physical server with half a dozen internal disks, and you'd say I'd have this for data, this for transaction logs, this for 10 dB, you should be doing the same for your virtual server environment as well. It's only on the biggest of sounds when you tend to say, well, you're probably not worry about that. Local server storage in virtual server environments is one of the biggest performance bottlenecks I see. Even when you move to a SAN, you need a very well-structured SAN with lots of isolated pools of disks to still avoid the issue. Again, this diagram here can show how easy it can be to make a hotspot unknowingly. So you might have dozens of host servers, dozens of guest servers, but unknowingly your sysadmin and your SAN admin just all pointed them to use one LUN, and that's the business LUN. SQL Server doesn't like that kind of thing. You will get high storage latencies. If you start to move to one LUN per virtual machine or multiple LUNs per virtual machines, that's when you'll start to tip the balance back in SQL Server's favour. So, best practices. This really comes to monitoring. If you are not a sysadmin at DBA, but you're nervous about your software running in a virtual environment, my advice to you is look at the complete picture. So it's all well and great getting real-time performance data, but use other metrics that you have. So SQL Server MSDB is packed full of nice statistics that you can use. So backup times, you can calculate the megabytes a second storage I/O throughput from. If you've got a really CPU-intensive ETL task, again, if that ran for 10 minutes every night of the week, and last night it took five hours, it probably wasn't your ETL job that changed. It could have been the host server that had a problem. So look beyond the SQL Server performance metrics. Look in the terminology you might be more familiar with. Again, this comes back to general performance baselining and knowing when something ran slower than you were expecting. You can use that same approach for SQL Server. So to summarise, there are many reasons to virtualise. We probably only heard about the cost-saving one to start with. There are functionality and manageability reasons to virtualise. So don't just assume that moving to a virtual environment has to be bad. But virtualization does mean using shared resources. So when we think about those two architecture stacks that we had, whereas before we were totally dedicated, we were isolated, it was only us that could affect our own behaviour. We could have really noisy neighbours now that take away our resources, compete with our resources, contend our resources that we weren't expecting. So our server design and monitoring, so in the SQL Server world, we need to look at how we monitor the performance of the Windows operating system, CPU and memory. We also need to look at design, so we need to make sure that we have those nice dedicated virtual hard drives, for example,